Hello guys, so now we need to work on this. Enter your name and then also proceed to continue. So but first, before we do that, let's also just make our code look more clean again. So here where we are checking this image and displaying or not displaying, let's make this as a separate widget so that we don't have all this code here. Okay, so what we can do, we can go in maybe in the widgets here. Let's create a new file. So this one, let's call it maybe what are we going to name it? Maybe let's say display user image, or let's put small letters, display user image .dat. Okay, so here let's make a stateless widget like that, and then let's name it display user image. Okay, so here instead of returning this, we are just going to go back here and then return all of this like the way it is here. So let's cut from the stack here, then let's cut it from here. Let's cut that, and then we go back to our new display user image, and then let's paste this here. Okay, we paste that. All right, so now let's do some changes here. First, we want to pass the required, this will be the required this dot file, so Copilot knows what we want to do here. So we want to pass the file image, and then we don't want to pass the bottom sheet. What we want to pass here is we can pass the radius so that we can change this code from anywhere. So what we can pass here is this dot radius, and then also we can pass the let's say required this, not the bottom sheet, let's pass the on pressed. Okay, like that, and then let's put the comma, and then now down here let's finalize this. So final file image, this will be a file which can be nullable, so let's import this .io. Then here let's pass also the radius, which is a double, and then let's pass the function, the on pressed. Okay, so here let's just import this, and then one other thing we need to also pass okay, already we are passing the file image. That's it, we only need to pass these three things. So here, instead of calling this show bottom sheet, let's call our callback on pressed, and then we come down here, even here let's call our on pressed, and then here let's close it out properly. Then what else is missing? Looks like everything is fine. Let's do Ctrl S to save. Or the radius, let's put our radius here, radius. So what's the problem here? What is it saying? Invalid constant. So let's remove this constant here. Okay, and then here also let's pass the radius. All right, there is no constant there, so this will be our widget, but we need to add the constant here since this is constant. Okay, now back in the user information screen here, we are just going to call display user image, and then we are going to pass that file image. We are also going to pass the radius, which is 60, and then the on pressed. Now that's when we are going to pass our show bottom sheet here. Okay, show bottom sheet. Then let's put some commas there, and then also a comma there. Then red hot restart. This should be work the same, should work the same as before, but we have just put now this properly. Our code is more readable now. This widget is just this widget. Now if we click here, what happens is still the same. Okay, we can do that, we can do that, and then we can do that. Okay, great. So that's it. Now let's work on this. So this, everything is fine. What we need to do is to create this method, save the user information. So let's say save the user data to FireStore. So now, first of all, let's create this method in in our authentication provider. But before proceeding here, let's be checking if the name controller is not empty. Okay, so let's do that. So let's check if this controller that we have here, which is a name controller, if name controller.text is empty, we are just gonna say please enter your name and then return. And then in the else, let's also check. So let's check two things here. If it is empty, we are going to tell them this, and then we reset the button. And then we should also check, or that one that's Copilot is suggesting, or the name controller.text.length is less than 3. We want the name to have at least 3 characters. Okay, so here we're going to say please enter your name, or we can also say name must be at least 3 characters. Okay, so we're going to make sure this condition is met. Okay, if he hasn't put the name, we're just going to return. If the length of the name is less than 3 characters, we're just going to show them this same message and return. So in the else here, we are going to save the user to FireStore. So now let's go on ahead and create this method to save the user to FireStore. So let's go inside our authentication provider here, and then here let's see where we're going to create that method. Maybe down here. So here let's create that method, save user data to FireStore. So let's see what Copilot will do for us. So let's see. Okay, it looks like it's getting the name, email, password, and phone number. So this is not how we want to save it. We want to come here with our user model and then do the rest. Okay, so let's not do that. We have to make our own code here. So let's start coding. So once we start, Copilot will adjust and go along with us. So let's save. Let's make this just a void method. So void save. Let's save user data to FireStore. So here let's take some required argument. First of all, let's it's again suggesting that let's not go with that. Let's require user model. We are going to pass that user model. Okay, so let's pass that user model. We follow along with Copilot's code, but what's in here, this is right here, but we are not going to do it now. Okay, so let's keep this here, or we can delete it, but let's just keep it here for now. And then here, after we want to pass the user model, and then we also want to pass the file, which can be nullable. Okay, because here maybe some user might choose not to put an image here. Okay, even if they don't put that, we are going to create their user account without an image. Maybe later on in the profile they can put an image. So we also require a file. Let's import that. And then after this file, let's require the function. This function will be on success. And then let's also require the on failure function. So first let's bring this down. Required function on fail. Okay, So let's go on ahead and save that so that we format. And then here what we're going to do is first let's set the loading. Okay, so is loading is true, Copilot knows that, and then we notify the changes. And then here let's wrap everything into the try catch block. Try catch. So here we're going to say on Firebase exception, we're going to call this error, we're going to set the loading to false and then notify the changes. Okay, so this code, let's cut it from here. It needs to be inside here, but not just yet. Okay, so up here, before we get to this code, we need to check something here. Okay, all right, so Copilot is already knows what we can do here. So let's go ahead and click tab. So this is exactly what we wanted to check. First, we check if this file image is coming is not now. If it is not now, so Copilot is naming this, it's giving it a name as our UID, and then it's creating this reference to where to save the file, which is under users in the storage, and then also giving it the file name as our UID. And then from there it uploads this task snapshot and then put that file in that reference, and then from there this text snapshot waits to upload, and then once it uploads it gets the download URL like this. And then once we have this download URL, is that URL that what we're going to set on the image. So here we did not name this as image URL, we just named it as a image. Okay, so that's what it is here. So maybe we can rename it, or let's just keep it the way we named it as image. Okay, but this method, let's not do it here. Let's create a separate method to handle this uploading of the image. Okay, so let's come down here after this method is done, this one down here. Let's create that method. So let's say store image to storage and return image URI. Okay, so let's see if Copilot will just redo this method here. So we can see that it has redone it even here. Okay, what we'll do is let's go with that code, Copilot code. We want to pass this file image, this one, and then we want to pass the file name. So here let's not pass it like this file name. Here let's just pass the reference. Okay, so here let's pass a string, and then let's pass it, let's say reference, because we're not going this one, we're also going to use it to upload any other file, the audio file, the image file, and also the video files. Okay, so instead of passing that string here, let's pass the reference which we are going to create from up here. Okay, so now here we are going to, after we create this storage reference, this we are going to pass it from up here, which is what is going to return here the reference. We are going to pass it. So let's remove this and just say reference, and then since we're going to pass the reference, we can go ahead and remove this. Okay, so let's remove that, and then here we just want to say upload the task here, and then we're going to put our reference, and then here instead of doing this reference, let's remove that. Here let's say that our FireStore what did we call storage, let's go up here, this one, where is that, storage. Okay, so let's come here, let's call our storage dot ref, and then dot child. We are going to put this reference that we are passing, and then we are going to put that file image. Okay, so now this is not going to be a file image, let's just name it as file, because we know it can be an image or it can be audio or video. So in our case, let's call it file, because we're going to reuse this method. Even the naming of it, this store image to FireStore, let's change it to store file to FireStore. Okay, so here let's say store file to FireStore, and then return the file URL. Yeah, like that, because this is going to be the method that we're going to use to reuse even for sending other things. Okay, so after we do this, here it's just the same. We are going to do this, and then here we're going to say, instead of image file, let's say file URL. Let's copy that, and then let's also paste this. Okay, so this is exactly that we are going to do here, just this. And then up here, instead of doing all of this, let's remove this. Let's remove this, and then so this image URL, let's leave it. Let's remove everything up to here, and then here let's do await. We await our method store file to storage, and then here we need to put this file. Let's copy that, and then paste that file here, which is a file image. Okay, and then here we need to put our reference. So this reference is where we want to save this image. Okay, so this image we want, let's create that reference for saving it. So let's create it as a string, and let's put the $, and then the brackets. So first we want to save it inside the constants. Instead of users, let's call this as a user images, and then let's remove that. So here, after it goes to the user images, let's put another slash here, and then it needs to go inside our UID, and then there, after we put it inside our UID, actually that's it. We want to save it in the user images, and then we'll give it a name as our UID. Okay, that is going to be the file name, and then we're going to send that file like what is happening here. So here, let's close it out. So once we get this download URL from image URL, then we're going to set it to what is coming up here. Okay, so that's that, and then let's create the constant for this. Let's go back in the constant, and then here let's go after the users. Here let's go static const, let's say user images, then we copy that, and then let's paste that. Then if we come back here to authentication provider, that is fine. Okay, so if we have an image, we do that. Then now let's continue. So here, the other thing maybe that we can update is the time, the last scene, and then they also created that. So let's get the user model. This user model, we are talking about this one, which is inside here. Let's get the field of last scene. This one, let's put the data, date time. Here date time dot let's remove this dot now, and then millisecond since epochs dot to string. So let's change this to microsecond since epochs dot to string. So let's remove that, and then put it correctly like that. So after we save this, let's remove that. After we save this, we also save the created at. You can see Copilot is suggesting us. So these times, this is the created, that is the time that the user is creating his discount, and then the last thing we are also setting it to right now, because now he's creating his time. So after we do this, and then let's update the user model, which is on top here. This user model with the user model that we've just updated here. We've given it an we have given it an image and these times also. So let's say user model will be equal to this user model. Okay, so once we do that, we can, if we want, we can also update the UID to this UID which is coming from here. So once we do that, now that's when we are going to do this method which is down here, this save user data to FireStore. So here, let's go through it again. We are going inside the users, and then the user model dot our UID, and then we are going to set this user model, which is this one coming from here, and then we are going to set it to map. Okay, so after we do that, now we can go ahead and call the loading to false. Okay, loading to false, and then we are also calling the success to true, but now we don't need this success method. Here we are going to call our on success, this function, the one that we are passing here, we are going to call it so that in the next screen we can decide what to do with it. And then after we do that, we are going to notify the changes. Okay, so this will be our method now to save the user data to FireStore. I also hope that I wasn't too fast also in this method. Okay, now we need to go back to the user information screen and then call this method. Okay, so let's do that. So let's go back to the user information screen, and then where can we create that method? Maybe here. So here, let's create a method now. This is a save user data to FireStore. So let's say void save user data to FireStore. All right, so okay, Copilot has done this, but it looks like it has put some comments. Okay, so let's see, let's just remove this and call our method. Okay, so first of all, let's call our auth provider, final auth provider, which will be equals to context.read authentication provider. Let's import these. Okay, now here let's initialize our user model. User model, this will be user model dot that. So for the UID, we know where we are getting our UID here. So why are we having errors? Auth provider authentication. Let's see this error. So this we need to add a now check. So this UID, you know where we're getting from. Okay, so it's coming from authentication provider, this UID here, this. Okay, because when we reach here in the user information screen, the user is already signed in. Okay, so now he's just creating an account. So we are going to get this UID from the user information screen, and then the name controller, we are going to get their name from the controller. So maybe we can just enhance this. We say trim, we can remove our spaces, and then also the phone number we have to get from the authentication provider. So let's just put a now check even here, and then the user image. So for the user image, right now we can't put anything. We can't put this user image that we are calling here. No, we can't put that. So here we just need to put an empty string, because you know what is going on. Once we go in this method that we've just created, where is that method? Here, it's below. Yeah, this one. We are just returning a file here. Depending on if we have the file, that's when we are going to set the user image, the URL for the image. If we don't have a file, we're going to keep it as empty. Okay, so let's come back here. So this one we have empty, and then the token also. For now, we are not doing any method to have a token, so we are going to have empty token. This about me, maybe we can say something here as default value, then later on the user can change in his profile. So let's say something like, hey there, I'm using Flutter Chat Pro. Okay, yeah, great, we can have that. And then this one, the last scene and created that, we are setting these values from this method here. So we can either set them here or here. Since we're setting them that side, let's put these as empty, and then this one also, let's put it as empty. Okay, great. So there is online. Now we know that this user is online because signed in. We are setting it to true. Friends UID, we have empty list for request, and also empty list for send friend request. So this will be our user model that we are going to send. Okay, so now after we initialize the user model here, let's call our method just after the user model. Let's call auth provider dot save user data to FireStore. So let's just do that. Move that down. So file image here, we know that we are passing the final file image, which is this one. And then on success, that's what we are going to navigate now to the home screen. So on success, we are going to set this button as success, and then we are going to navigate. So it has done extra brackets. Let's remove one. And then on fail, we are going to show the toast message of the failure. Okay, so here the button controller will set it to error, and then we'll also show the message. So first, let's close that. Then let's put a comma there. So what we can do here is we'll show the error, and then maybe after a second we reset the button. Okay, so let's do that. So here we'll say await future dot delay 2 seconds. So let's have async keyword here. So here let's just delay for 1 second and then return the button. So this snack bar, let's cut it, it should be here. And then here, that's when we're going to reset the button. Okay, the button controller dot reset, which is the same thing that we're going to do here. We're going to set the button first, and then after that, let's await future dot delay 1 second, and then we are going to navigate. Okay, async. So after we await, and then we say button controller dot reset. So even if we don't reset here, I think it's still fine because we're not returning to the screen. We're just gonna push replacement. So maybe let's leave this like this. Okay, so what's happening here now in the on success, after success is happened first, let's do the first thing is save user data to shared preferences. Okay, so you know we've already created with these methods, which comes from await auth provider dot save user data to shared preferences. We are not passing this thing, so let's remove that. Copilot is just predicting that. And then after we save this user data to shared preferences, now we can navigate to home screen. Okay, so here you can see that it says we are calling this across asynchronous gap. How we fix this, you know that we're just gonna say navigate to home screen like that. We just create it as a method, and then now here let's create this method, and then let's remove this from here. Then we are going to put the navigation inside this method. Okay, so here again, let's put a comment, navigate to home screen, and remove all routes. Okay, so now we are just going to navigate to home screen like this. We're going to import the constant here, and then that's it. All right, so from here now we are done with the user information screen. If we try to run the code now, we should be able to log in and then navigate to the home screen. Let's also just call this method here at that button press, save user to FireStore. Okay,